Welcome back, everybody. 20 minutes to the top of the hour on your Tuesday, and you're looking live at Beirut, Lebanon. Israeli forces now operating in southern Lebanon, continuing to target one of Iran's most high-profile proxy groups, Hezbollah. We're now entering day 4 of Operation Epic Fury, and Iran continues to launch missiles and trade fire and blows with the United States and Israel, with 2 drones hitting the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Right now, the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait is closed until further notice. Joining me now is Senior Director of the Iran Program for the Defense of Democracies, Behnam Taleblu, and former Senior Advisor at the U.S. Treasury and International Economy expert, McGuire. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Behnam, let me start with you on this one. The president told R. Kelly Meyer last night that the world will soon find out what the retaliation will be for the attack on the U.S. Embassy and also for the 6 service member deaths. What do you think the United States has up its sleeve?
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you, Markie. Good morning. Listen, I think we're in for a lot more of the same. It's kind of difficult to be surprised at this point when in the opening hours of a military operation, the sitting state leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, who is also commander-in-chief of its armed forces, Ali Khamenei, is taken out. So let's just say that be prepared to be surprised. But at the same time, we know there's a compelling and coherent military logic to the way that the U.S. is proceeding inside Iran today. And that's a combination right now of a defanging mission and of a decapitation mission, going against the political elite, gutting the command and control, and also going on the defanging side against the long-range strike capabilities. This builds on the logic that Israel had during the 12-day war that was targeting the launchers. And now if I had to guess what a heavier attack or a bigger attack would look like, that means using B-1s and B-2s against the missile bases that are buried underground that actually house both the missiles and the launchers. So the goal might be to get rid of the guys with their finger on the trigger, as well as get rid of the launchers and the missiles all in one go.
Matthew, let me bring you in on this. You have a different take on what's going on than most people that we've heard from on the show. You say Trump's Iran war puts American interests last. You call it recklessness personified and killing the Ayatollah a gamble on chaos. How so, and what would you have liked to see the game plan be instead? Just leave him in place?
So I'd say the reason that this is a real problem for us is 2 things. One, we've tried this before in Iraq and Libya and many places where we were able to decapitate the leadership, but then what comes next? What we saw in both of those places were very long civil wars. And so there doesn't seem to be a lot of planning here in terms of what comes next. Easy to take someone out at the top, but who is going to emerge? Is it going to be the Revolutionary Guard that emerges? Will it be another theocrat like Khamenei? We really don't have a sense, and that's why it's very dangerous. What I would have liked to see is for us to focus on the real danger we have out there, which is Russia, which is attacking our NATO region, it's attacking the Ukrainians.
But you don't think Iran is a real danger that's killed more than 1,000 Americans?
Nowhere near as much as Russia. Russia is trying to tear apart the fabric of NATO, our most important military alliance, for years, and we haven't really addressed that or stopped that. Iran is certainly a regional menace, no question. These are not good actors, but nowhere near the threat that Russia is. And my concern is we're not prioritizing our biggest threats in the world right now.
Behnam, I don't know if you'd like to respond to that, to what Matthew just said.
If you don't mind, I certainly would like to. Russia doesn't have a sitting bounty on the head of the commander-in-chief of the United States at the moment. And while absolutely the Russian military, the nature of Russian warfare is much more different and much more advanced, in so many ways more lethal than that of the Islamic Republic of Iran or the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, America is going to have to walk and chew gum at the same time. That's going to be, the cost of a global superpower. I don't see a straight line from coming up short against the Ayatollahs to being able to deter the CCP or being able to win against Vladimir Putin. So, hopefully this actually does signal resolve that we're serious about this stuff. But I would also say Iran is not Iraq. Iran is not Libya. There's no social engineering here. Iranians are among the most pro-American and most pro-Israeli population in the heartland of the Muslim Middle East. This doesn't seem to be, at least for now, a ground boots kind of operation. Most Americans oppose that. President Trump opposes that. And we shouldn't let some of these threats become actually super imminent. With respect to the Iranian missile program, for example, we shouldn't wait to miss the mark and have that be like North Korea. I don't believe there's a lot that we can do to stop North Korea's ICBM program right now. We seem to have to roll with the punches, unfortunately, on that. We should learn from the lessons of history of how some countries are able to use their space programs to develop ICBMs. That's precisely what India did about 30 to 35 years ago.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.